Okay, so we will start the meeting at 7 o'clock. 7 p.m. on the button, I guess. Call the meeting to order. We'll seat John Dilworth for Tom again.
All right.
Okay, and there is some additions to the agenda. I think we want to add item 6.2, a timber harvest by Austin Harlan. Is that correct?
Yes, on 41 Laurel Lane.
Okay. And what is the number on that? What is his application number? 22331?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
223-31. Okay, we'll put that on the agenda under item 6.2. Any other changes to the,
Nope, no other changes.
okay, very good. Then, okay, any communications or correspondence? I understand Mark Vining had a message he wanted to give. Would someone read that? Isabel, do you have that available?
I don't have it on me, so I'll ask
All
Josh
right.
to read it. if
I
you
can
like.
pull it up on my phone.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'll
okay.
just give some background information. We have an application for 3 Sleepy Hollow Road, which is not under public hearing, but we did receive a letter, I believe, in support of the application. So we're just going to read it at this stage, and then we will get to that application under new business shortly.
Okay, so this came in at around 3:30 today. And Mark Vining says, "Greetings, Inland Wetlands members. I write this public comment letter as authorized member of the Vining family and Vining Family Trust, 15 Sleepy Hollow Road in Columbia, in support of the work that Mr. Mike Dobush has applied for a permit to perform on the lakefront right-of-way property he owns at 17 Sleepy Hollow Road in Columbia. 15 Sleepy Hollow Road and 17 Sleepy Hollow Road, which is Mark's address. Actually, no, it's not. Okay, 15 Sleepy Hollow Road and 17 Sleepy Hollow Road share a common property border from the street, Sleepy Hollow Road, to the high water mark of Columbia Lake. The Dobush family has been our up-the-street neighbor since we moved into the family home in 1970, and they always have had use of 17 Sleepy Hollow Road as per their deed. Mike is now the titled owner, having purchased the property from the previous owner. The property had not been well kept by the previous owner, which resulted in occasional runoff and debris from the right-of-way coming onto our property, especially after heavy rains, amongst other issues. I and my family are aware of the site work that Mike wants to perform, which now is in front of you as an application to the IWC. My family and I fully support Mike's efforts on the property and encourages the IWC to approve his application. We are available to give additional input or testimony to the IWC should that be requested. Please contact me as below. If I can provide any additional input, I encourage your favorable approval of Mike's application."
Okay, thank you. Sounds like he wants to support Michael Dobush's application, which is great. Okay, any audience of citizens? I've seen a person, Mr. Faggot, or do you have anything to say? Oh, I guess not.
I should just clarify for the record that the name that John Allen just called him is what his Zoom window is saying.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. Oh,
okay. It's Mike Dobush.
hi. Oh, hi. Who put that up there then? I'm sorry. Somebody. Name up. Well, sorry, Mike.
And I put it up on my laptop, so I'm using my work phone. So
Oh,
I don't know why it's coming in with that name.
okay. All right. Is there anything you want to say, Mike, before we get started on your application?
Actually,
Well-
I think the Zoom window with that name actually just changed to Austin Harmon, so I
Oh,
don't think
okay,
it's
yeah,
you.
Austin Harmon.
So
Okay, does he want anything to say? Austin, do you want to say anything as a audience of citizens on our agenda here?
My apologies. I'm using somebody else's phone, so I'm not sure why it showed up that.
Oh,
Just to clarify. But no, I am here for my own separate application, Austin Harmon, CEO Whole Forest Products for a timber harvest. So I'm just waiting
yes,
till that comes
okay.
up on the docket.
Yep. Okay, very good. So we'll wait till we get to your application. All
Yep.
right. So, okay, let's start with new business. IWWC 2223-30, application of Michael Dobush to install a 40 feet of pipe and add pavers, soil and grass to 2 to 3 new steps at 3 Sleepy Hollow Road. You want to give us a little background, Isabel?
Yeah, so I think that most of the commission members will remember this property from a site walk that we had,
Right.
I believe last year around a similar time, or maybe last fall. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the date.
Yeah, last fall.
Last fall, okay, thank you.
Yep.
There was work done by the lake to improve the swale and minimize erosion closest to the lake, where Mr. Gilchrist was concerned about his dock being impacted by the erosion coming from water leaving the swale. So that was approved at the time, and we discussed what could be done at the site to either make improvements to the swale, or as Mr. Dobush is proposing, to add a pipe, fill the rest of the area in, and add grass seed and permeable pavers closest to the water. This has been very briefly viewed by LMAC. I know that they tabled the discussion. I did speak to Mary about it briefly, but they weren't able to really get into things in detail because they didn't have time to review it in full before the application came to them before the meeting. So this is something that I think we're going to tonight accept and discuss and ask questions, and then go from there. There's no action that can be taken tonight. And
Okay. Thank you. Very good. So we need a motion to accept the application. Somebody
I'll make a
wanna
motion to accept.
Thank you. Okay, second? Anybody want to second it?
I'll second it.
Ron, thank you. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. So moved. Okay, thank you. Okay, so anybody have any questions on it? I looked through it. It looks fairly thorough and it looked pretty good to me. Anybody have anything they would like to say about it right now before we can't act on it tonight? I guess we have to wait till the next meeting, but
I will add one thing I left out was
Okay.
in our previous discussion at that site walk, when we discussed the potential of adding a pipe, generally it's not something that the commission allows or that the town allows for pipes to outlet directly into the lake. And an additional concern that was expressed that I would just like to bring up is that a number of commission members, at least at the time on site, felt that it was necessary that any pipe being proposed would need to be sized appropriately by an engineer.
okay.
Well, I think we've covered this, that if we have a 12-inch pipe coming in at the top of the property, you know, a 12-inch pipe leaving the property would be sufficient. That, you know, it's common sense that there's going to be less flow, you know, according to, you know, what you guys require, the riffraff should be of, diverting that water and letting the water absorb. So there should be no way that there's more flow at the bottom of the hill than there is at the top, or more volume. I shouldn't say flow, more volume.
Hmm.
And
And does the pipe have holes in it?
I'm sorry.
Does the pipe have any holes in it or any slots? I think you said there were slots in it
Yes,
to
it's
distribute it,
wall.
right?
a single wall pipe that's corrugated, so it'll slow down the velocity. And in between those corrugations, there are slots for drainage.
Good.
So I'm actually adding more migration than what's there now, as well as slowing down the velocity, because about 30 feet of that pipe is in addition to where now the water just runs and drops 3 foot off into the lake.
Right.
What the constant erosion problem is. So there should be less velocity, and there'll even be less water, should be coming out that pipe
Right.
than what's happening now.
Do you have stones around the pipe too?
Uh,
Gravel or something?
well, the pipe is, there's going to be riffraffs. The riffraff's still going to continue all the way down
Oh, okay.
110 feet. I'm
Mhm.
not changing the first 110 feet of it. The only thing I'm doing is adding at the 110 foot mark, adding 40 feet underground so that can be safely crossed over without any more erosion into the lake.
Okay.
So there's, I'm trying to meet what everybody would like.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, okay.
Does
Uh,
the pipe, it'll terminate before it actually gets to the lake? When you put the new pipe in or down?
The pipe is going to go from the 110 feet down under for 40 feet and then terminate under the dock into the lake.
Okay. So Isabel, that's what you were saying about pipes going directly into the lake?
Yes, I know that we do have some instances in town where that
That's permissible?
is still present, but in the last, I would say probably 15 or more years, it's something that we generally have not allowed, just out of concerns of sediment loading, nutrient loading into the lake, and also the velocity of the water coming directly from pipes into the lake.
Sure.
We could potentially find a solution where that pipe is brought further back, then I think that would be preferable, or more beneficial to the lake. But what we have currently, and the site is somewhat difficult in that the path that the water takes currently is moving away from the dock and crossing the right of way.
Okay. Yep.
I think at this point, it's up to the commission, of course, but I think that a site walk would be beneficial, again, just to revise everybody's memory and give everyone an opportunity to see the site fresh.
Sure. Yep.
And, as I said, I'm adding 30 feet of more migration, and the corrugated pipe slowing the velocity down more than what is now. I mean, right now you have the water running full strength, eroding the soil into the lake. There's not going to be any more pickup or buildup of sand in any way. I mean, you're already getting the 90% of the migration down the hill. What I'm doing is actually adding to the filtering.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds like it makes sense, but I mean, yeah, I guess if, people have concerns about pipes going directly in the lake, I guess we need to address that as well. So, but
Okay, I mean, there are quite a few pipes that go into the lake
yeah,
that are smooth and offer no migration at all. I mean,
Yeah.
pipes are, concrete pipes that just let it run
Yeah.
full strength, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying.
So if if you terminated the pipe before it got to the dock and it was just like the swale going down, so it drains to the rocks for the last 5-10 feet or whatever, that wouldn't work. I guess as I remember it though, you have to walk over it, don't you?
Right, that's the problem.
Yeah,
Built that temporary bridge over the erosion
yeah,
to be safely crossed. This is a direct shot where now that last part of the property in front of the dock and walking to the dock is, you can safely cross them.
yeah, yeah.
That's,
So after where it crosses, I mean, could you just terminate the pipe there and put some riprap down there, for the last 5 feet or so? Or again, I'm sorry, I don't quite remember exactly. I remember doing the site visit, but
right. The problem is getting the water from the right side into the lake.
yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah,
I could, there's not enough room to migrate it any other way. I
Sure.
mean, if, originally, I think when we were there, I talked about crossing it right there and letting it dump in,
yeah,
but that's there, you're not getting the extra migration or slowing the velocity down. There you're having that full velocity and it's dropping off 3 feet.
yep,
Whereas the way I designed it, it's the pitch is only going to be an additional 12 inches, just enough to get the pipe under the surface,
sure,
and it's going to be minimal, the velocity would be less than what it is now. I mean,
yep,
I wish videos of how the water rips, into the lake there in a hard rain.
yeah, Yeah.
And part of it, the rest of the swell is going to get reworked as well.
Yep. No, it makes sense to me. I mean, I just,
Yeah.
as long as, I guess we have to make other people comfortable too,
Right.
and doing it.
Oh, okay. I think if we have another site walk, we might be able to take a quick look at it again and see what's going on. So what do you think we need any other site walks besides this one? If not, why don't we have it on the 18th of March in the morning at 9 o'clock? Everybody can make that?
What's the 18th, what day of the week?
Saturday.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, 9 o'clock on the 18th.
that works for me.
What's that?
I
Yeah.
just said it works for me. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay,
Okay.
very good. Okay, thank you. So we'll take a look at it and then get together again next month, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Michael. Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Okay, the next item, item 6.2, timber harvest, Austin Harlan, Isabel, you want to bring us up to?
Yes, so this is an application for a jurisdictional ruling for a timber harvest at 41 Laurel Lane, which is in the LAR zone, but it's far away from the lake, well over 200 feet. There's not really concern from my perspective there. And I think Austin has some information to share with the commission as well.
Okay, very good. Austin, would you give us a little rundown?
Sure thing. Good evening, everyone. So it's a fairly simple jurisdictional ruling for a timber harvest. I believe this property was harvested either 8 or 10 years ago by who I don't know. So in this case, we're going to use the same skid trails and wetland crossings that they use, as well as new ones if we need to. As an indication of the last the last harvest, there was a lot of oak cut out, creating a lot of space, and there's a lot of wonderful oak regeneration coming up. Oak regeneration needs a lot of sunlight in order to fulfill itself and grow into the forest canopy to eventually become mature trees. So this harvest is in an attempt to A, make the landowner some money, B, to release that regeneration and help the forest in the long run grow back as an oak forest as it is now. There is one drainage crossing, which I believe, according to the map, if everyone has or looks at it, is the westernmost crossing on the map. There's a small wetland on the edge of the landowner's backyard that drains down into the bigger wetland. We need to cross that drainage and then cross the wetland beyond it to get to the back of the property. It should be, I want to say it's maybe a 60-foot wetland crossing. All wetland crossings are going to be supported using timber bridge mats and or corduroy. Seed, hay, and water bars will be used post-harvest as needed. It would happen most likely some point this spring or summer. So depending on weather, I assume we'll at least go back and seed and hay and such like that. Yeah, there is one pond, seasonal pond, I guess you could call it. It's not full of water last time I was there, but I'm sure it could if it got enough precipitation. And the little drainage that leads out of that pond out to the eastern boundary of the property. There will be no crossings, but there will be trees removed within the edges of the wetlands and the upland review area. All best management practices will be used. Any sort of rutting, I believe, beyond the limit of 12 inches and such in or around the wetlands will be fixed by us post-harvest or during the harvest as needed. And again, we're going to do our best, obviously, to try minimizing any sort of impact we could have to the wetland and water courses. But
Okay. So this probably should be an administration approval or so that Isabel can make a jurisdictional ruling on it. So
So I do have a jurisdictional ruling prepared
Oh,
that I
great.
can read into the record if
Okay.
the commission is ready.
Yep.
Okay. Share my screen. And so this is for timber harvest at 41 Laurel Lane, Assessor's Map 12, Lot 11 in the LAR zone. Jurisdictional ruling, I move that the proposed activity is qualified under section 4.1A of the Commission's regulations as forestry, which falls under the definition of farming in section 1-1Q. Is a use as of right and is not regulated, a regulated activity requiring a wetlands permit. Applicant Austin Harmon at 41 Laurel Lane, Assessor's Map 12, Lot 11 in the LAR zone.
Okay, do we have a motion on this jurisdictional ruling? Someone want to make a motion
I'll make a motion.
to accept it? Okay.
Yes, to accept it.
We have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Okay.
motion carried. Thank you. Okay,
thank you all. Have a good night.
yep, you too.
Thank you, same
too.
you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, the next is old business IWWC 2223-28, the application of Andrew Mastronunzio for a driveway crossing for a proposed single-family home at 450 Route 66. I guess we had a site walk there a while ago, and Isabel, you want to bring us up to date on that again, please?
Absolutely. So we had a site walk there previously along with, I believe, 3 other lots within that Christie subdivision that contained wetlands. This lot in particular is the only one with a wetlands crossing, which I believe, and Andrew, I can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I believe the crossing is about 250 feet for the driveway. It was previously approved when the subdivision was created and the approval ran out. When the commission had their site walk again there recently, the determination was that this application would require a new approval from the commission. And the only concern that was mentioned at the time that I recall was the size of the culverts within the driveway. There were no specific concerns, but commission members did want to see that they were approved and appropriately sized by an engineer, given concerns that the watershed potentially had changed. That has since been done. The pipe has been given approval by an engineer under current conditions. And the only other activity outside of the driveway that will be within the upland review area at this site will be a footing drain for the house and sediment and erosion control measures.
Okay. So do we have a ruling on that?
We do. And Andrew, do you have the exact size of the crossing?
I do not. I'm not. I don't have the site plan pulled up. I'm unfortunately, I'm out and about this evening.
Okay,
But
sorry to put you on
what you
the
described
spot.
sounds about right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was a good approximation. I scaled it off on my computer. Unfortunately, I don't have the plans with me, but I do have a summary ruling prepared.
I have one question. Hey,
Yep.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. The engineer looked at the size, pipe size. Did he agree that that size was correct or did he change it?
I believe the size of the pipe stayed the same.
Which was,
It's noted on the plan. I don't recall.
6 inch, 12 inch, 8 inch?
No,
8
it's
inch?
bigger than that.
I can pull it
Bigger
up.
than that, okay.
Yeah, I want to say it was at least 12-inch. I think it might have been 16 or 20. I don't recall though.
Okay,
but
that-
it
that's
is
good
notated
enough.
on the plan.
Yeah, 12 inch, okay. Well, yeah, okay,
So evidently it has been checked.
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so do we have a summary ruling?
Yes.
Could you read
Let
it,
me
Isabel?
share my screen. And so this is for application IWWC 2223-30. Application of Andrew Mastronunzio for 450 Route 66 in Columbia. We received the application last month on February 6th for the construction of a driveway through approximately 250 feet of wetlands for a proposed single-family home to include a footing drain and some sediment and erosion control measures within the upland review area at 450 Route 66. I'm going to skip over the standard language that we have here. I haven't changed anything. The wetlands agent is to be notified of a pre-construction meeting with the contractor and property owner prior to the start of work. The intention of the meeting is to discuss construction sequence, proposed erosion and sediment control measures required or necessary to protect the resource and stabilization of the site. The final schedule for construction activities, including start and completion dates, sequence of construction, stabilization of the site, and final plan to be approved by the wetlands agent prior to the start of work. No material should be stockpiled within the wetlands or the upland review area. Construction apron shall be installed before any work begins. Use of fabric under the stone at construction entrance is required, and the road is to be kept free of soil and debris. Erosion and sediment control measures will be installed prior to construction to include silt fence surrounding the protected wetlands and or as further required by the commission and or its agent as site conditions dictate. maintenance practices necessary to assure proper functioning of sediment and erosion control measures, routine monitoring and removal of sediment and repairs if necessary, controls to be monitored prior to forecasted rain events and after forecasted rain events of 3/4 of an inch or greater. Additional control measures will be installed during construction if necessary or required. And finally, Andrew Mastronunzio is assigned the responsibility for implementing the sediment and erosion control plan. Responsibility includes installation and maintenance of control measures, informing parties engaged on construction site of the requirements and objectives of the plan, notifying the Inland Wetland Commission office of any transfer of responsibility, and conveying a copy of the erosion and sediment control plan if the title of the land is transferred.
The only question I have is at the beginning, I think you said it was item 2223-30, and I think it's 2223-31. Is that correct? At the beginning.
Let me see.
That isn't this number 28?
This is 28.
30, you got 2223-30.
I'll correct that.
30
is the
30 is Michael Dobish's.
Dobish's.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay. So it's 31, right? Or a different
I
number?
think this one is 28. Is that correct, John?
28? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The
and,
last one was
and
30, so I thought this was 31, but maybe I'm wrong.
and while you're at it, there was a place down at the bottom where it said the erosion control pan instead of plan.
Ah.
Way down at the bottom. Last couple of lines there.
Erosion control pan. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, you have a
Alright.
pan that the water flows into.
Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the summary, accept the summary ruling?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay,
I'll
second?
second that motion.
All right, thank you, Tip. All in favor, raise your hand. So
Aye.
moved. Thank you. Okay.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Yep, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Same to you.
Okay, approval of the meeting minutes of February 6, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept those? They look pretty good to me. I read it all over. It looks good.
Hey, Dave has made that motion.
Okay, Tip made the motion. Second
No,
on
no,
that?
Dave made it and I'll second it.
Okay, very good.
Dave, who is
All in
perpetually
favor?
without audio.
Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. So moved. So the minutes are approved. Do we have any audience or citizens? I don't believe so. And any open discussion, commission open discussion? Okay. And Isabel, any administrative reports? You got one listed here, 11.1, under item 11.1. Clark
Yes.
Robinson?
I have one administrative report at 198 Route 87, an application from Clark Robinson to excavate around an existing cottage and install new supports within the same footprint. So not a significant amount of excavation. It'll be controlled with silt fence, and it's remaining in the same footprint of disturbance that exists from the original cottage.
Very good.
Good. Good.
Any others?
No, I believe that was it for this month.
Very good. Then I guess I need a motion to adjourn so everybody can watch that big basketball game
I'll
tonight.
make that motion.
That was
You see
quick.
it behind me.
I'll
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
And don't
John.
forget Saturday, okay, at